Yeah, it's you. I'm glad you brought that up. They found only you guilty on, and how you explain it too. I mean, the judge did say this was already defamatory, so she already
Yeah.
declared you guilty essentially before the jury even had the chance to ponder the evidence. They just had to decide whether it was malicious intent or if you did it on purpose and knowingly. And of the 10 statements they were weighing, they only found you at fault with 2, and you explained
Right.
why you made those statements because you'd already been attacked. And then there was a third
Right.
statement they found at fault, and that was from somebody
Right.
different. It wasn't you, which was very interesting. It's
Right.
not who we thought it would be.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it
I
was.
was surprised by that one.
Yeah,
And
I was
because of
too.
that, there was a lot of people keep asking me. The main question I've probably gotten it from a dozen people by this morning, even though the news just broke last night. Will you appeal?
Yeah, it's, they're working on that now. I've got to call my lawyers today. I would say absolutely. This isn't, to me, this for me hasn't been about the money. This is about free speech. We need to break on through. I think we got that with My Pillow. That's a huge breakthrough. And absolutely, one of the things they didn't prove was any loss for the plaintiffs in this case. They didn't prove any damages. It's like, okay, what are these damages for? And it was very confusing. The jury did not know. They even asked the judge if the judge would set the damages because they didn't know what they were doing, and nothing had been brought before them to prove any damages. So I think there's 2 things going on, and I don't know, Emerald, I can give an update this week when I talk to the lawyers, because everybody's kind of, I flew all night, got commercial, got back to my house, and the lawyers, I think, are doing the same, but I'll have to find out with them. I think there's 2 things going on. One's an appeal, and I think another one is how were you damaged here? But I want to say it was in the 90-some% where the judge would either not let something go forward and I'm going, what if I'd turn to my lawyer and say, well, why can't we bring this in? Why can't we bring this in? Well, the judge said no. But they also said that's good for appeals when you get unjustly suppressed. And I believe that's what's happened.
Yeah.
It's so I'm not, I think for me, in the circumstances we were in, as they were reading the My Pillow and saying, no, I'm going to get to the end, we needed that breakthrough because, we can, as Bannon put it this morning, to, live to fight another day. Remember, there's 2 other cases, you guys, that are billions of dollars against My Pillow. Remember, they went after My Pillow, saying this is an elaborate scheme of Mike Lindell and My Pillow to make money off all this. When we've lost hundreds of millions of dollars, we've lost everything, and to say it's an elaborate marketing scheme. I think I'm a pretty good marketer. I'd probably quit digging. I'd probably quit doing, hey, this little marketing thing isn't working, and I think the jury was great. I really do. I think based on what they were given, their instructions, I think they did as best job as could be done based on what the judge ordered them to do, or ordered that it was already considered defamation. I think that I had never heard of anything like that to prove that. I mean, and then you had all the statements by this Coomer that they called what did they call it?
Hyperbolic.
Hyperbolic. I'm going, okay, how is his when he called Donald Trump a Nazi and all these things in his stuff?
And Avatar.
And I call Coomer and his lawyers part of the biggest crime family the world has ever seen. Wait, is that the same type of thing? You've done crimes against all humanity, and so I don't know.
Well, and we've seen that on uneven. There in all the lawfare going to the J6 trials and the election trials, and that really, mostly were dismissed on standing. It just was the judges playing favors with the other side,
Right,
and
right.
there just wasn't equal justice under the law.